Is global warming caused by humans or nature? New study sparks debate on the true drivers of climate change. November 18, 2024, as the world grapples with the growing threat of climate change, a new study published by the Global Climate Research Consortium, GCRC, has reignited a debate that has long divided scientists, policymakers, and the public. Is global warming primarily caused by human activities, or is it part of a natural cycle of Earth's climate? While the overwhelming majority of climate scientists have concluded that human-induced greenhouse gas emissions are the main driver of the current warming trend, the new study suggests that natural factors, such as volcanic activity and changes in solar radiation, may also be playing a more significant role than previously thought. The human influence, a clear and present danger for decades, the consensus among climate scientists has been clear: human activity, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial emissions, is the primary cause of global warming. The release of carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere traps heat, raising global temperatures and disrupting weather patterns. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has consistently reported that more than 90% of the warming observed since the mid-20th century is due to human activities. This includes the combustion of fossil fuels for energy production, transportation, and industrial processes, all of which release vast amounts of CO2. The burning of forests, especially in tropical regions, also contributes to climate change by reducing the planet's ability to absorb carbon. Dr. Emily Chen, a climate scientist at the National Climate Institute, explains, the evidence is irrefutable. Human activities have caused the rapid and unprecedented warming of the Earth's climate over the past 150 years. The sharp rise in CO2 levels since the Industrial Revolution is directly linked to increased global temperatures. There's no other explanation for the speed and scale of change we are seeing. Dr. Chen also points out that the current rate of warming is much faster than any natural cycles recorded in Earth's history. We are seeing a pace of change that is unprecedented in the context of natural variability. The scientific consensus is clear: humans are the dominant driver of this change. The role of natural factors, a subtle contribution. Despite the overwhelming evidence of human influence, a smaller but vocal group of scientists argue that natural factors, such as solar radiation, volcanic eruptions, and shifts in Earth's orbit, should not be ruled out as contributors to climate change. These natural processes have shaped the Earth's climate for millions of years, and some researchers suggest that they may still be having a more significant effect than previously believed. The new study, conducted by the Global Climate Research Consortium, GCRC, suggests that natural factors, particularly solar radiation and volcanic activity, could account for a larger portion of current warming than the mainstream scientific community acknowledges. The research analyzed data from solar output, the amount of energy the sun emits, and volcanic eruptions, which can release vast amounts of particles and gases into the atmosphere that influence global temperatures. Dr. Robert Sanders, the lead author of the study, argues that the role of the sun in recent warming has been underappreciated. We've looked at solar radiation patterns over the last few decades and found that changes in the sun's output, while modest, may be influencing global temperatures. While human emissions are a major factor, natural variability, particularly solar fluctuations, could be amplifying or moderating the effects of greenhouse gases, he said in a recent press conference. Volcanic eruptions, too, can have a temporary cooling effect on the planet by releasing aerosols into the stratosphere, which blocks some of the sun's radiation. However, this cooling effect is short-lived. Dr. Sanders contends that volcanic activity should be considered as part of the broader picture, although he acknowledges that it's unlikely to be the sole driver of the current warming trend. Can we separate human and natural influences? While the debate over the relative contributions of humans and nature continues, The new study also underscores the complexity of Earth's climate system. Climate is shaped by a multitude of factors, including the Earth's orbit, ocean currents, cloud cover, and greenhouse gases. Each of these elements can interact in intricate ways, and determining the precise role of each factor is a challenging scientific task. Dr. Sandra Williams, a climatologist at the University of Oxford, argues that the idea of trying to separate human from natural influences on climate is a false dichotomy. The climate system is highly dynamic, and both human and natural factors play a role in shaping it. What we need to focus on is the magnitude of human influence. Yes, natural factors have always contributed to climate variation, but the scale and speed of change we're seeing today are largely driven by human activity. The two are not mutually exclusive, but human impact is now the dominant force, she explains. Dr. Williams emphasizes that the accelerated warming observed over the last century cannot be explained by natural factors alone. For example, while solar radiation does fluctuate, it has not shown any significant increase in recent decades that would account for the rapid rise in temperatures. Likewise, while volcanic eruptions can temporarily cool the planet, they cannot explain the long-term warming trend. The stakes: immediate action is needed while the exact balance between human and natural drivers of climate change remains an area of active research. The overwhelming consensus among climate scientists is that human actions are the primary cause of the current crisis. The urgency to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and shift to renewable energy sources is undeniable. Dr. Elizabeth Garcia, an environmental policy expert, emphasizes that regardless of the precise causes, the effects of climate change are already being felt. Whether the warming is driven entirely by human activity or influenced by natural factors, the fact is that we are facing unprecedented environmental disruptions. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, sea level rise, and biodiversity loss are all consequences of the current trajectory. We need urgent action now to prevent catastrophic outcomes. Dr. Garcia advocates for stronger international climate agreements, increased investment in green technologies, and a transition to sustainable agriculture and energy systems to mitigate the worst effects of climate change. The science is clear: the more we delay action, the more we jeopardize future generations, she says. Moving forward, a unified response. While the debate over the causes of global warming continues, the global community must come together to address the climate crisis. As Dr. Williams puts it, whether human activity is the only cause or whether natural factors are playing a role, the science tells us that the Earth's climate is changing, and we must act to protect it. The most important thing is that we reduce emissions, protect ecosystems, and invest in climate solutions that can ensure a livable future for all. In the end, the focus must be on solutions, not division. With political, economic, and social will, humanity can confront the challenges posed by climate change, regardless of the exact cause.